I'm Shoestring J and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and sustainable. And on Wednesdays I focus on cooking and some sort of frugal food option. Well, frugal for me, not always for everybody else, because quite often I'm using things from the garden, but that would tend to mean that they are in season, so therefore potentially cheaper, or maybe you know somebody who has a glut of something and they might give you some of their glut, especially if you express an interest. I used to approach my neighbours with courgettes when we had a massive glut, and they'd be like flinching. It's like, no, I don't want to name courgettes because I think I just grew too many. Now I just stick to 3 or 4 plants and that's an adequacy for us. Anyway, today, talking of courgettes, I'm going to be using some courgettes. I'm going to make some courgette muffins, and that's from this book. Now you can see I've got this from the charity shop. This cost me £1 in the charity shop when I went out with my mum during the week. And it's full of lovely recipes. I actually picked it up thinking I'm going to put this in the gift box for Christmas for one of the girls. And then I started looking at it and thought, I'm actually going to keep this, because from the point of view of somebody who is growing vegetables, there's loads of really good recipes in here. Like, for example, this has popped up, aubergine no meat meatballs. Well, I'm growing aubergines for the first time, and I've got quite a few of them. I think we've got about 6. I probably won't use them for that though. I'll probably use them just roasted because Justin loves those. It's one of his favourites. So anyway, it's really good. So I've got this recipe for courgette. Little Italian courgette cakes, they're called. And that's them. I'm only going to make one batch because I want to try them first. Obviously, if I find they're delicious, I'll make loads and stick some in the freezer. But they have got, I don't know why they're called Italian other than they got olive oil in them. So, but the recipes are saying here are lovely. Another one I'm going to make this week because we've got lots of chard, which I love chard. And it's coming really prolifically, is chili chard rice with buttered cashew nuts. So that's a meal in itself for me as a vegetarian, or it could be a vegan meal, or it could be a side dish really. So that looks very, very straightforward. So yeah, I'm going to be making that on my meal plan for this week. But anyway, yes, the Abel and Cole Veg Box Companion by Keith Abel. If you're not in the UK, you might not know that Abel and Cole are a veg box scheme, so an organic veg box scheme. So they're obviously giving their customers lots of ideas as to what to do with the seasonal veg that they get in their veg box. So that's why it's really good for me. Anyway, let me show you the ingredients, what I'm going to put in the little cakes. So it's a basic cake recipe really with a few additions. So we've got olive oil. I reckon you could probably get away with using any oil in this. It's not going to make a lot of difference if you want to make it a bit cheaper. 75 millilitres of olive oil. And then we've got sugar. They don't specify caster sugar, but I'm going to use the end of this caster sugar. I've got some more coming with my shop. So you want 100 grams of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 lemon, and you want the zest, and 3 tablespoons of the juice. And this is probably, be lucky if this has 3 tablespoons. It's been sitting in the fridge a while, really needs using. It's looking a bit sad, so I should have used that earlier really. And then what else do we have? We have plain white flour, 250 grams, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, which I've got there, baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of bicarb of soda. So I've got both of those things there. One thing I haven't remembered to put here is the salt. So we need a pinch of salt, a mug of grated courgette. So I don't know what's going to make a mug. I've got one out of the fridge. This one got a bit bent. It was stuck underneath the plant. So I'll start by grating this, and if I need more, I'll obviously grate some more. So mug of grated courgette. You don't have to peel it or anything. A handful of crushed nuts and or raisins. So I'm going to probably I'll use the rest of this little packet of chopped mixed nuts. I'll use a few toasted flaked almonds because, again, you know, these things don't last forever, do they? They need using. And then perhaps I'll put, just because I think it'll be nice in this, some raisins as well. It's a little honey, the recipe says, so I don't have any honey, so I've got a little bit of maple syrup. I can use that. I'm sure that will do just as well. And that's it. So then prep takes 10 minutes. They take 30 minutes to cook. So let's get on with it. So I'm just going to start by grating my courgettes to see what a mug of grated courgette looks like. And you will notice when I do these recipes from my frugal kitchen, I'm not always doing things I've done before. I'm quite often experimenting, and I like to share my experiments. And that is because I don't want to ever give the impression that I am some kind of expert cook. I'm absolutely not. And I also want to encourage people just to have a go, because I think a lot of the time when you cook for yourself, it's much, much cheaper. It's healthier as well, because you have far less preservatives and things that you've made yourself, and it has less packaging, so it's a bit more environmentally friendly. And quite often you're using, you know what goes in them. You're using nutritious ingredients. You know what's going in your food, and you save money. So there's lots of reasons for cooking for yourself. But sometimes people, especially now that you don't have good food tech lessons at school in the UK anymore, it's people don't have confidence. Like when I was at school, I didn't do a lot of cooking at home before I started secondary school, but we made stuff. We made proper stuff from scratch, and I was amazed to discover that actually it wasn't that difficult. My mum worked and my dad worked, obviously, they both worked. So she didn't have time with 4 kids to sit and do cooking sessions with us. So it's not like we learnt a lot at home. Though when I had my own children, I did make sure they could learn to cook. And I used it as an activity as well, something to do. It's a good thing to do a bit of baking, especially in the school holidays, isn't it? Keep your kids occupied, but also just to show them that it's possible. It's not difficult to cook, and people have lost the skill. If they've got parents that don't cook, they think it's really hard and complicated, and that's why I like sometimes I'll show things I've done wrong. I'll have failed experiments because I just have a go. Like I say, I just have a go, and I see a recipe, I think that looks good. If I've got the ingredients for it, I think that's going to be a good frugal recipe to do, because I've already got the ingredients, in this case courgettes. I think it's something different. I know that we're going to need some snacks this week, so hopefully these will be nice and we can have these as snacks. So this is 1 courgette that I've grated up while I've been chatting to you. Let's see if it fits into a mug. Oh, I reckon. Just show you. Okay, here's the 1 courgette. That bit's a bit scummy. Oh yeah, what that one sort of medium-ish courgette is pretty much a mug, so I'm not going to start another one, even though it's slightly less than a mug. That'll be fine. And I guess it's the same principle as carrot cake, isn't it? So it adds a little bit of sweetness and moisture to your cakes. Plus, if you've got people that don't really like vegetables, it's another good way of introducing some nutrition and some fibre and all those other things. So yes, then what's a mug? That's slightly less than the mug that I happen to be holding in my hand, so that will do. Well, I've got the grater out. I'm zesting the lemon. That will do. Cut that in half so I can juice it as well. Okay. I don't know, that's going to make 3 teaspoons, but I've got a bottle of lemon juice, so I can always add a bit more. It's a nice old-fashioned vintage lemon squeezer. Bits for the compost. Okay, there's my juice. Okay, so I've got to whisk the olive oil, the sugar, and that was quite a lot of olive oil, so I say it's not that frugal if you use olive oil now because it's so expensive. So I reckon any oil would be fine. Eggs, and the whole egg as well. Lemon juice. I better measure this out, haven't I? Let's have a look. See how much there actually is. That tiny lemon. Oh, that was 2. That was 2 tablespoons of lemon. You wanted, I believe, 3. Yeah, so I've got my trusty one. from Lidl. There you go. 3 tablespoons of that. I want half a teaspoon. Do you know, I got these measuring spoons from some very fancy Christmas crackers about 15 years ago, and I've used them and used them. You don't get gifts like that in Christmas crackers, do you, normally? Actually worthwhile ones, worth having. That's my half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And what else? That's it. Oh, and the zest. Get that. Okay. Well, interestingly, there's nowhere that's going light and fluffy, is there? That is just liquid, so, well, let's crack on. So we're to sieve in the flour next. That's what I mean, I'm just experimenting with you. I often don't bother sieving in the flour. I know you should, but I want a teaspoon of bicarb. I'll sieve that in as well, but only about 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, oddly enough. Now, he's not mentioned the salt, but I'm assuming if you put salt in, it'd have to go in at this point. And the salt I've got is very rough, granulated salt, so I'm trying to crush it up a little bit first. Yeah, a little bit of salt. Let's fold that in. You know, it's not like when you whisk eggs up and they are with margarine and then you can fold things in. It's not, that would be not liquid, whereas this is very much liquid. Oh, he does say the salt, actually. Okay, so it's going much more battery now. But he does say fold this in rather than whisk it, and I don't know why it would matter, because as I say, there wasn't any air in that first bit. There you go. I'll try and get it mixed in the best I can. It seems like quite a solid sort of batter at this point. Okay, so now I'm going to swirl in the courgette. I'm swirling it in. This will add a lot of moisture, won't it? Because courgettes do actually hold a lot of water. And then I've got to add my nuts and or raisins. So a handful was the amount. So let's see. Oh gosh, that's a handful just with that. So perhaps I won't add any almonds. I'll save, I put a few almonds on the top. Depends on the size of your hands. I mean, Justin would put a lot more than me in, wouldn't he, at this point? I'm going to put a few raisins in as well. A few more. I love raisins in cakes. Just mix those in. Oops. Okay, so he says don't overmix. So it's me mixing away madly. Just want to make sure they're all combined. Now, he's not mentioned, as far as I can see, what you do with the honey. Oh, you drizzle a little honey over the top. Okay, so I haven't got the honey, I've got the maple syrup, so I'll just see how that goes. Maybe I'll put some brown sugar on top instead, I don't know. You have to adapt, don't you? So I think that's ready. Let's go and put these in my muffin tin. So this makes 9 to 12 cakes. So I'll start with 9 cake cases and see how we go. I reckon it's going to make more than 9 though, looking at it. The bicarb soda starts to make it puff up, and I can see that's happening now. Let's get rid of that. And that's kind of what makes it a muffin, I think, having the bicarb in it. Right. Here we go. Put too much in that one, I think, maybe. Because they do, obviously, they grow in the oven. Don't want them bursting out the top. I'm actually excited to try one of these. Oh yeah, definitely going to make more than 9. Okay, so it made an extra one, but that's fine. I didn't want to put any more in. That's ready to go in the oven for half an hour or 25 to 30 minutes, he says, and then drizzle a little honey over. My oven's quite fearsome, so even though I've only put it at 180, I'm going to keep an eye on them. There you go. They're done. I've only done them for 20 minutes because, as I say, my oven's quite fearsome. It's a fan oven. So I think that is enough. I'm going to let those cool and then we'll give them a taste. Okay, just remembered I'm supposed to drizzle them with a bit of honey, but it's not honey. Honey, not honey. A little bit of maple syrup. I'm not sure if they just really need the extra sweetness because they've got a little bit of sugar in, but not very much. Don't think they're going to be super sweet. But let's go with it and see. And the recipe only says a little honey, so this is open to interpretation. It's not going to make it taste worse, is it? Let's face it. Any kind of syrup is going to be nice. So you're supposed to do this before they cool, which is good because they're still very hot at the moment. Okay, now I actually will come back and let you know when they're cool and we can taste them. Okay, they are still warm. Let's give it a try. This is my spare one I did on the edge of the oven. Trying to get it out of the cake case. Oh, they're still really warm. I probably needed to leave them to cool down a bit more. But I was dying to try them. And actually, I mean, warm cake, this is the wrong time to try them because you can't tell because they all taste nice when they're warm. They're not very sweet, but I don't mind that because I'm trying to cut back on sugar anyway. If you wanted them sweeter, you could maybe double up on the sugar. But they're nice and moist. You can see the courgette in them, but it doesn't taste like courgette. So, I would make them again, definitely. I'm going to take the tray over to Justin's mum's house now and see what that lot think of them. His brother and his sister-in-law and his mum. Rude to talk with your mouth full, isn't it? So yes, I would definitely make them again. I think they're interesting and they taste nice and they're full of fibre, so they're quite nutritious. You can make them even more nutritious by doing them with wholemeal flour, I guess, but they might be a bit heavier. Yeah, good, success. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know whether you make courgette cakes or any other vegetable cake. Beetroot and chocolate is another one in the book that I fancy trying because I've got beetroot. Yeah, let me know what you make, what you think of these, and give me the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.